Hey, welcome back to Drive Time. I am your host, Craig Pasta Jardula, and we do it live, bringing you all the hot takes, headlines, and unfiltered opinions that matter most. Whether you're stuck in traffic, cruising to work, or just chilling at home, we want to hear from you. Today's topics are all about the big stories making waves, but we're not just here to talk at you. We want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and your take on everything from the latest political debates to the everyday challenges we face. Remember, whether you're on the left, the right, or somewhere in between, we welcome all points of view. So grab that hands-free device, dial us up, and let's dive into the conversation. What's on your mind? It's Drive Time. Call in now. Good morning, everybody. It's Drive Time. That means it's your time if you want to get involved, have a conversation about what's taking place, anything you feel that's necessary that needs to be brought to the table. We are here for you. Man, Sleepy J is there in the house. It's Monday, right? So we might have a Monday guy wander on in here in a little bit. We'll see if he comes around. Just some really quick notes. We will not be on air tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be driving to the airport early in the morning or sitting in an Uber waiting to get there, and that means I will not be able to do the show tomorrow. I don't know. I haven't spoken. I think Nico House is still on vacation regardless, so I don't think he'll be able to do it. But I don't know if him and Sleepy want to get up and kind of hang on out and do it, then they're more than welcome to do it. I could probably get on the phone for some of the ride over there, but unfortunately tomorrow's going to be one of those days we have a little bit of a lull. Lull, lull, which means to I don't know, means to kind of stay in a slump, stagnation. I don't know. I mean, Pete Rose used to use the term lull. But we'll be right back at it, guys. I don't have any trips planned for a while. What an amazing weekend over here in Peru. Dude, Sleepy, I should probably play the video I have. You know when and by the way, good morning. How are you? Let me let you say good morning to the world before I start pressing.
Good morning, everybody.
Man,
I've already had my coffee. It's good.
God, I know what it's like. That extra hour, you know what I'm saying, of sleep, how much it means. It's like so valuable. It's like, man, I got to get up an hour earlier. That's like so much. So I so much respect you. Sleepy in the Midwest, sitting through the Midwest thunderstorms.
It's quiet so far.
It's all quiet on the Illinois front. You ever know in the wedding where like they take the garter belt off the woman and then the guy, the groom throws it behind him and a bunch of guys try to catch it?
Yeah.
Well, there was a dance floor at our wedding, and behind the dance floor was a well, and that well was emptied out, and they put a bunch of lamps in there. And it was thrown back, and me and another guy went up for it, and we went crashing down into the well.
Oh my God! Was there liquor involved?
I have it in video. Good morning, Snorky. I went into the well trying to catch this thing, and really I didn't even catch it. I was taking him down like I was like a linebacker trying to cover, a third wide receiver there, and we broke glass in the thing, But as a 53-year-old. I dusted myself up. Everybody was so nervous. And I hit the dance floor for the whole remainder of the night. I'm a trooper. A little soreness on the left arm, but that's what the kind of wedding I attended over the weekend. Just amazing. Fun stuff. Food was subpar. Dancing was amazing. The atmosphere, the church itself, I'm not a big religious person, but a beautiful church nonetheless. Beautiful day. It's like Lima has a way of being like gloomy all the time, like dark and whatnot. This particular day, it's like the sun had just peeked through and whatnot. Oh, okay. Somebody mentioned me last night. Entenmann Bill, how you doing? I guess Keaton mentioned me. It's good to be mentioned, right? I was the first to bring those guys around. I was the first to bring around Nick Cruz, Poppy Chuliman, who is Poppy Chuliman. Was Richard, which Richard's last name?
Medhurst.
First to bring I discovered these people, brought them around, and now they're doing their thing, and I'm happy for them. I remember Nick Cruz, the first time I put him on was an election night, and he came on. He was still socialist MMA. He didn't even have the Fred Hampton leftist. Richard was Poppy Chuliman. We just had him on because he was a kid from Syria. Uh, and the first time that Due Dissidence went on the Jimmy Dore show was when I was hosting it. They went on the same episode as Mark Sloboda, who was his first time, and that was a lot of fun. So
I
it's kind
like
of
him.
cool. Yeah.
He's very cynical.
Well, people were like when people had like Mark Sloboda first time, Don DeBar first time, Sam Husseini first time, Patrick Henderson first time. So these people were like, "How are these people never on Jimmy?" I'm like, "Well,
I was surprised
they
those
are
last
now."
two in particular,
With Patrick, right?
especially Patrick.
Yeah, yeah. And we
Because
met
dude,
Patrick at the
that guy's been on it since the Assange days. Like
Yeah.
he's
Great
been around,
voice,
man.
too. Yeah. Great voice. He went through an illness where he had to learn to walk and everything. He was sick too as well. So he was really
Yep.
appreciative that I had him there. And I met him in D.C. in person. Just a stand-up guy. Good guy. So definitely with that. Yeah, it was good to have him on for the first time. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Bob from Atlanta. Good to see you guys. Our people started matriculating
They're trickling in. It's Monday.
trickling.
They're a little slow on the roll today.
Whenever I use the word matriculate, Fred Edwards gets mad at me. That's not the way to use it. He has to graduate high school. Well, they used it on ESPN when they were talking about a team moving the puck up the ice. The guy would be like, now here they are matriculating the puck up the ice. He's like, they used it wrong. So getting ready for the show today, it's like, what do you do? What kind of sources do you go to? It's so crazy. You're like, so obviously I don't believe a lot in what's going on in the mainstream media, but I still want to kind of, I want to be with what the people are talking about. That's why I did this show. We want to tackle where the conversation is at and bring it on in. So, I go to antiwar.com, right, just to get the update on it. This is your World War III update.
That's my daily driver. It's a good like brief synopsis, and if you like it video format, it's a half hour, and he goes through a bunch of it like really quickly. It's good.
Yeah. He's got Scott Horton hanging around there. Our Thursday guest, Kyle Insalone, at that same area that I met Patrick Henderson for the first time. I also met Dave DeCamp from antiwar.com. What an amazing job he does. He's a great guy.
He seems like such a nice dude.
Oh, dude, he
Just
is
saying.
just a sweetheart. He's just
He just seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And it's like you can tell, like as he goes along. I've been watching him for a long time, and you can tell he's just so sad about some of it.
I know, dude. I'm gonna start off with and if God, it's so bad. We'll try again to write another letter. Nothing successful yet. Sleepy, I'm gonna go into the private chat and I'm going to put a link there because since my internet is like not so great over here, I'm gonna let you play it. But my Twitter is completely like brand new and dead. The one Twitter that I had that had close to 30,000 viewers, subscribers or whatever, or followers. Thank you, whatever you want to call them. Was hacked and then deleted. So I'm gonna see if I can get it back. But it kind of sucks, dude. Like and it did really happen. Where I was doing a lot of reporting in Iran. I had a source on Iran, and I was telling us people with directly what Iranian media sources were saying. I had a tweet that right in the beginning where Iranian TV said they killed close to 300 Americans, and a lot of people are probably still to this day like that's all the people that were dead. That's it. They hit all those bases. And by the way, on antiwar.com, one of the first article that's linked there is Iran says they're going to continue to expand the targeting zone if the United States continues its strikes. And the reason why people have an okay mentality about this, like I said, there's a group of people that are making a ton of money off war. Those are people who are invested in the stock market. When it comes to BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, who own the majority stake in Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and all these other companies. So they're okay with babies getting bombed because they are making money. That party exists too as well. But the other dumb people, right? Well, those people are deceiving and deceitful and whatever, and they don't give a shit. They really need they need to look in the mirror and check their principles, right? They're not principled people. They need to look at their standards and their morals. They need a morality check. We got them. That's a small number. A large number of people are a dupe because they're watching mainstream media. So I made a tweet today, even though I don't have a big Twitter now because I use my backup Twitter and just started like very little people. But I'm like, this is what the mainstream media gives you. Watch Drive Time on Pasta to Go every morning from 8 to 10 Eastern Time. But this is the shit they go and this gives me sleepy, and you let me know when this is done. This gives me creepy Iraq war vibes. The way everybody just talked about it so casually, like, Bill, how's that roast beef you got over there? It's a little undercooked, but it's medium rare plus, and what am I gonna do? Well, what do you think? Do you think we should bomb that country, annihilate them? Yeah, I think it would be the best thing because they'll never give up. So maybe let's just kill all their women and children. Just casual about the bombing of women and children. And no, it's not just all for Israel. Like I mentioned to you, it's all those industries that make money, including the American stockholder. Go ahead, Sleepy. You got something to say?
I was just gonna say your bougie white man voice is great.
Well, I thank you, Sai.
All right, let's play this thing.
But you know what I mean, right, Sleeps?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see what these chuckle fucks got to say.
Chuckle fucks.
It is inevitable that President Trump is going to have to do what he doesn't want to do, which is go in there with this massive all-out attack. There's no other way to stop this. There's no other way to win this war. So, again, he's trying to do the best he can. He's a very nice man. I love President Trump. He doesn't want people to die. He really doesn't. Okay, he's a nice man. But there's no other way to end this. Once you start this, Midnight Hammer was great. Epic Fury was great. Once you start this, there needs to be a finish. And the only finish is complete surrender by the Iranians. I hate to say it, but complete annihilation.
Well,
I'm glad you paused it right there. Please.
What?
Did you just see that? That's on national television.
Dude, that's like let's just genocide a whole fucking people. Yeah.
I know.
What
Ladies
the
and gentlemen,
fuck?
drive time every morning at
Who's this guy that's way too tan?
I
That's
don't
calling
know.
for
With the white suit, Telly Savalas's inner child. I don't know. It's and for those
Are we
who
playing
don't
more
know,
of these guys? These guys are awful.
I mean, did she say? Donald Trump doesn't want to kill anybody. I know.
I know.
I know he doesn't.
I'm like, how do you know? Are you buddies with him? Like,
Could somebody give me another Keurig?
all right, let's.
And then he goes, this operation was great. That operation was great. You're killing people. Great. This is what you get in the mainstream media out there. And this really does hurt. Once again, we haven't been talking about what goes on in the independent media. It's been completely just ignored. You know what I'm saying? They're controlling that narrative over there. This is all about pushing empire and war completely in a dystopian type of world, which is censored. And we said this, but you have to come out there. You got to support us on this. You got to push for us. You got to push for the people who are being censored. We were censored on YouTube for almost 7 years. I mean, it was just fucking ridiculous. And they do these things because they just want to push empire completely. So, I don't know, Sleepy. It was great. Those other operations, they were awesome. We dropped bombs. We killed women and children. It was great. But he's going to have to go for complete annihilation.
And complete surrender. Yeah, because the Persians have a great history of surrendering.
Yeah. On top of that, there's Sleepy J telling you why. I know, right? Like, yeah, Iran's going to go, sure. Do you know what it would be for a freaking ground invasion? First of all, we wouldn't win, guys. We would not win. And for people who think that we would win, okay, why wouldn't we have done it by now? Or we're trying to just drop all the military hardware first so the military-industrial complex could win and mop up, and then we're coming in after. We got to soften them up. No.
These dudes were fighting ISIS for how long?
Who?
We weren't fighting them. They were fighting them.
They were. They're the ones who...
These are hard. This is a hardened ass standing army, and they're Persians, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna send you the next.
They're brilliant. They're a very intelligent people, man. Like, even their military guys. Like, dude, like everyone in their military knows like 5 languages and shit. It's nuts.
And we're sending, get the next one over there, and we're sending real estate investors to do our negotiating for fucking peace and wartime. I mean, it's just this is the biggest fucking joke around, and I still see crazy, stupid people out there trying to sound intelligent talking about these things. You know what I'm saying? As if these things are necessary. The reason why they get along with this is because so many people that are not paid propagandists, they are just useful idiots. Good morning, a dingo ate me baby, and Ek Onkar, Katie Kane, Enterman Bill, I get annihilate. I get it. Annihilate. And here's the next video. And the reason why I'm playing this is that because saying all that, Ken O'Keefe has a video out there. And in a video, it's talking about Donald Trump going all when he was on the campaign trail this last time, talking about the peace president, talking about these wars being started stupid. I'm sorry. I just want to point this out. Marjorie Taylor Greene gives me those same vibes. I know that might be bad to say, but she gives me those same vibes. Sleepy, what I want you to do is take us down because I have to go get the fan real quick. It's hot in here and I got to bring it out here and go full screen. Guys, you are watching Drive Time in the morning with Sleepy J and Craig Pasta Jardula. Alex Strenger should be along soon if he wakes his ass up so we can have a Zionist come in here and bag on him a little bit. We probably won't talk about that stuff today. We'll probably talk about the lesser of two evils and whatnot. But he is a person of a different personality, and there are people out there that do think that way. And that's what I want to do is have conversations with those people out there. I think it's important to bring this shit to the forefront, put it on the table, and see where we can go from there. But this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's get her on TYT, our favorite, not really, news channel. What's up, Stacey Dave? Good to see you. And we'll be right back.
They will make sure that whoever replaces Lindsey Graham is 100% dedicated to the American war economy. And it's the American war economy that we have to defeat, Cenk. That is one of the biggest things that I don't care how you vote, left, right, middle, in between, or you're sick of voting. That is the number one problem that we have to rip by the root out of both parties and out of Washington, D.C. They will make.
What the hell? Come on, Pasta.
I thought it was longer than that. I had to move some stuff.
No, that was a quick one.
I know. Okay, so, this is something that Donald Trump talked about, the military-industrial complex. Now, I will say this much. I don't think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has the same type of love for Israel and the military-industrial complex necessarily as Donald Trump did. But she's been questionable on some decisions. Listen, for the majority of her time in Congress, she's been the lone Republican voice, other than maybe Thomas Massey, to push back against major wars. You know what I'm saying? What's her name? The woman from Code Pink. The one, she would talk about, help me out.
Medea Benjamin?
Thank you. Medea Benjamin would talk about she couldn't stand some of the issues that she have, right? Like, so she's against the woke stuff. She's against anything, she has a hard time with the LGBT QI, whatever it is. I hate to say whatever it is, but yes, you know what I mean? She has a hard time with that.
I can't even remember all them fucking letters anymore.
Yeah.
Too many.
Well, she has a hard time with that, right? And sometimes she can come across as if she's not caring or being considerate for people who are different than her or who are constituents. And that could be a little bit of an issue, right? Like the fact that you would even push that stuff, that's tough. But she has had a sound voice at times, but this does give me Donald Trump's vibes, and I don't know if she could be trusted. So I don't know. I
don't think any politician can be trusted, and she is a politician.
Yeah, but once again, there was a time when people were saying we're only politicians because we're trying to be civil servants, to the people. The Colombian president, by the way, who just got in, who's now an American puppet, has cut off relationships with Cuba and Cuba and Nicaragua, is going to hold building the embassy in Palestine. There's a lot of bullshit that's going on over there. But now we got back our little puppet in Colombia, and that shit's going to be disgusting. And things might really seriously break out over there. I'm still wondering here. I think it's today. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow is the inauguration of Keiko Fujimori in Peru. It's very serious because Peru sits on the lithium triangle, and the United States wants it. So, Keiko Fujimori, the person who got elected, she's going to be reclassifying or reigniting those relationships she had with the multinational corporation. But at one point, I think, Sleepy, like the workers, the indigenous people from those areas are going to be like, nah, we're fucking done with you guys. Go marching into the Capitol and say, get the fuck on out. And you're going to see a lot of these leaders within these governments in Bolivia, in Peru, and probably flee, right? So that is going on. The next video I'm going to play for you, but it's not enough time for me to get the fan either. I need to get the fan. There's only circulation in here, the air. There's a lot of videos out there right now, Sleepy, that they're playing of your favorite senator, Lindsey Graham, including Marianne Edelson talking about when Lindsey was a junior senator, how she got him out there, how she paid for Israel, the trip, yada, yada, yada. It is kind of nauseating. But let's take a look at this one real quick. Guys, you're watching Drive Time. We can use a phone call right now, 561-247-2721. That's 561-247-2721. Man, Jop, Sleepy, you said people are dragging ass on a Monday. Get your coffee, pick up the phone, and dial on in. Here's everybody's favorite American senator, our late Lindsey Graham. Sleepy, our late Lindsey Graham. Sleepy, our late Lindsey Graham. Sleepy? Did we lose
Yeah, what's
you?
up?
You're
No,
not
I'm
playing
here.
the video.
I am.
It's not on the screen.
What the hell? Hold on.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I'm stupid.
Or
Start it
some
over.
week,
Yeah, you're
and
stupid.
just is able to deliver. Oh, to be honest with you, I think about 3 to 4 weeks we should have them in a spot where they start losing control of some cities. And what we're trying to do is just get a few cities to fall in the next month. Get the Arabs more openly involved tomorrow or by the end of the week, and just have almost irreversible momentum.
God, I hate him.
I mean, isn't that crazy, though? Yeah, and they just talk openly about this. This is a guy who's supposed to be one of 100 senators out there, right?
Well, he did, so.
He did, but his sister's now running, and she's just like him, so forget about it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are like that. They think that this is just like they've watched too much G.I. Joe, and I don't know what to say, Sleepy. I don't want to ever see anybody bombed or anything like that. But once again, if we never understand what these other people are living through, how the fudge are we going to, ever relate to them and change?
We need a
this
bloody
kind of
nose,
mentality?
man. I've been saying it for a while. America needs a bloody nose.
It needs to be bitch slapped a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I mean, that's what it's going to take, I think.
It's,
Whether it's economically or otherwise.
the economic thing is like one thing too as well. It's like whatever, man. I mean, it's how long are we going to keep propping up our system? It's gotta fall sooner or later.
It's certainly not
Okay, so I got
sustainable.
another one. I'm gonna play my boy. I'm gonna give you this one, guys. We want you to call on in. Where the hell is everybody? Will you help me out over here? Will somebody get my back? Snork, we haven't heard from you in a while. We need to hear some stuff from the professor, and you always have a lot of great things to call in on. I'm in Peru. Tomorrow there'll be no show because I will be traveling. But yeah, come talk about the control grid or something that they're using for the lithium out here. I got another video. This is my boy Rick Sanchez. I know everybody there's some people out there not crazy about Rick Sanchez. I like the guy. The guy has been nothing but awesome to me. I love having good conversations. I appreciate the work he did. He used to be on the mainstream on MSNBC. I remember at one point when he was barking back and forth with Bill O'Reilly when it was like MSNBC and Fox going at each other. We have been economically hit for 30 years, but why? And how come a lot of people still aren't experiencing it? They can still order Domino's and Uber Eats. Crazy. So let's watch this. This is Rick Sanchez. Go full screen on this. I have enough time to grab the fan. You're watching Drive Time. If you want to call in, 561-247-2721. That's 561-247-2721. You've tested the phone, Sleepy?
Yeah.
Good. Call on in. Here's Rick Sanchez.
We got our first numbers back on, the inflation numbers in the United States. I don't know if you've been seeing the CPI numbers that have been coming.
Yes, I did.
What consumers pay for things now, and it was March was 3.3, April was 3.8, and May went to 4.2%. That means the inflation rate, Kava, in the United States right now is 4.2%. That's crazy. This is supposedly the richest country in the world, and people are having a tough time just buying groceries right now in the United States. That's something that is serious. You know, we have an expression in America. It's called, it's the economy, stupid. And that means people are elected or unelected based on what people feel they have power in terms of their pocketbook. That's, by the way, that's not an American story. That's the same thing in Iran and everywhere else. When I was in Iran, the one thing that most Iranians who came to me and they were bitching about, and they had a right to be bitching about it, was the fact that their currency was worth absolutely nothing. Now, you and I both know that this is something that was in many ways created by the West. They made that happen. But still, the average person who needs to feed his family doesn't care. You know, a lot of people at the time were blaming the Iranian government and wishing they could, help to figure things out. So right now, interestingly enough, and maybe there's a paradox here, it's the American people who are feeling the things that I heard the Iranian people tell me when I was in Iran. I mean, things are really getting seriously difficult for Americans, and they hate this war. Very few people in the United States are now supporting the war or supporting Israel. And by the way, they're tying those two things together.
Wow. Rick Sanchez. I can do a good Rick Sanchez. Rick Sanchez here, ladies and gentlemen. How do you feel about the Iran-U.S. war?
He's not wrong, though.
No, it's show me the lie. Show me the lie. And that's the thing. That's what America does. This is why World War II started and Japan had to attack Pearl Harbor. Not why, World War II started. This is how the Americans got involved, right? They start these economic wars that will eventually turn into a hot war. The same thing's happening over here. They have a lot of control of the global markets and the currency out there, and they purposely starve people out. And that the whole intentions of sanctions and doing what the United States is doing is to make sure that regular, everyday Iranians suffer. Hopefully they'll get upset and overturn the government. Same playbook, been doing it for years. And that's what they did over here, only that they didn't prepare themselves for Iran to strike back the way they are striking back. And like Lindsey Graham thought, like they're going to get a couple cities. It's going to start to crumble. Get some
Be a couple of days.
And then we want the Arabs to get involved openly. Arabs getting involved. You know what I'm saying? God, how scary is that, dude? And then, then they take the country. And then what do they do with the country? They take the country. They take the oil. Do you get any better from that, everyday people? Nah. You don't get jack shit. But the rich oligarchs and the ones who control all the resources on this lovely planet, they're the ones who get to continue rape and pillage. We have our first caller. It took 27 minutes. First caller. And by the way, we have Alex Strenger who just showed up. So we're going to bring in Alex Strenger so we can openly bag on my friend over there who has a light source behind him and we can't see his face.
Wait, we're here. You can see me?
Alex, have you not learned that the light has to be in front of you?
What are you talking about?
Talking about that big, beautiful sky behind you. It's okay. We can hear you. That's what's most important.
Hold on.
Guys, you're calling.
Hold on. I can
no,
adjust
you keep going. I'm going to start to take the caller while you straighten everything out. You'll be okay, though.
Well,
You'll be
Pasta,
okay.
Listen,
You
I gotta
just
say thank you. Well, Pasta, thank you for letting me. Thank you for giving me the time to freshen up and get ready to make sure I have a bunch of energy. I got my Knicks hat on. I got my cup of coffee. I got some time to go to the coffee shop, support a little local business in town. I had to work super late last night, and as just the fact, like, from one working class member to another, the fact that you're allowing me to take my time and wake up and be at full energy for you.
Yes.
Top notch.
Well, what?
Top tier socialism, Pasta. I wish more of the left actually practiced what they preached in terms of helping their fellow man out. So,
all right.
One day,
listen,
we're excited.
We got a call coming through, so we got to take the caller, and we'll get right to it. You with Sleepy J, Alex Strenger, Craig Pasta Jardula. This is Drive Time.
That's Craig.
Caller, who are you and where are you calling from?
Hold on.
Snort from Iowa.
Norky. Just mute your mic for 1 second. Alex, go ahead.
You okay?
Go ahead, Professor.
The Iowa caucuses are done. Last time they came around, so many of us quit after we were asked to basically rig the election. We had a choice, Biden or Buttigieg. and so most of us left. They didn't have really enough people, and last time they were sending out emails begging us to come back, so they had have enough people to sign the paperwork to have a caucus. And it's tough. And I don't know if you guys use the Pasta to Go Patreon page anymore. I sent some links in there.
Yeah, we do it.
And I sent in some links for the Palantir competitor. I can't remember who they are, but they're selling Israel spy vans for police to use in the United States. So they can go into a neighborhood, they can intercept your cell phone calls, read websites and stuff that are happening on there, do all kinds of transactions, and basically slipstream into your cell phone conversations.
Wow.
And so I wanted to back up, so I sent to the Pasta to Go site links. These are not small sites; these are like Forbes and whatever. And so it's scary. So when I was down in Texas, all of the vehicles, or many of the vehicles, were white, so the heat doesn't make them really hot when you leave them parked in the sun.
Yeah.
These are going to stand out in some of those southern states where you have to have light-colored cars, because they're going to be black Chevy Tahoes.
So I don't see the links, by the way. I'm trying over there looking for the links.
Okay. Maybe that didn't work.
Let me take a look. They just had some stupid thing and saying that I had to combine stuff. Professor, it's just so weird with everything going on. The Twitter shit, my thing getting hacked, and all these. I don't know. Social media has just gone, and independent media has just gone in a crazy way. Explain to me and the audience, though, really quickly. I want to get to go back, because today I was like, all right, so I know last show that Alex Strenger was on, we kind of tackled the whole Israel thing, and I don't want to necessarily dive there. If the conversation goes in there, it goes there, right? I wanted to talk a little bit more about, does he think, and before he answers that question, Alex, I want you to hold on to it. Let's let our callers speak. Do you think that the Republican Party is the lesser of two evils? And Snork, when it comes to the Iowa situation with the caucus, is this the Democratic Party that's kind of reaching out to people and saying, hey, what's going on? And do you think that the Democratic Party is the lesser of two evils? Because we're still there. I was at a table with 25 people the other day, and we were having conversations, and a lot of people still are trying to sell that, well, you know what choices do you have? You have to vote for A or B. And I'm going to go vote for B, or some say I'm going to vote for A. Tell us about the Iowa caucus and a little bit more about.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, Paz. I just want to interject here. They're releasing Dr. Fauci's journal, and they're going after China for voter fraud right before the election. Clearly, the patriots are in charge and fighting the globalists. Come on, wake up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was pretty bad last time. There was all kinds of rigging. It appeared that they were even infiltrating the party that previous governor from Minnesota was trying to run as president, and he got frustrated and jumped out. But it was just
somebody's echoing.
I only have this device on.
Oh, you're fine,
So
Snork.
maybe-
It's echoing from Pasta or Alex.
I'm not echoing.
Okay.
Nobody's echoing it.
Yeah, I think
I'm getting echoes. I'm getting echoes.
Hold on. You guys getting echoes over here? Let me hear.
Just mute for a second, Pasta, and when he talks, I'll be able to talk.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I was a precinct chair. We were told that during in the event there's a tie, that we're supposed to do a coin toss. And in the official records, there is no mention of the official rules of how you declare someone's won a coin toss. So in the official rules, it said it's up to the precinct chair to decide who wins the coin toss. And basically, we were told, don't even look. Just automatically, if there's a coin toss, the party preferred candidate wins. And a lot of us got disgusted and just left. Is we pretty much guessed that happened before.
Was that the like super fake coin toss thing that they did? He just kind of like slapped it down on his hand or something.
There was a couple of them. There was a couple of them.
Yeah, but
with Bernie Sanders and Buttigieg, and Bernie Sanders had clearly beaten Buttigieg. And excuse me for 1 second, Snork. I'm going to hand it right back to you. But Fiorella went out there to cover that, and she had left the room, and Bernie had won the room, and she went back in. They were doing some coin toss after they left. They were pulling all types of sneaky stuff. But this is what the Democratic Party did when I was there in that group. They would put people in charge who were loyal to the establishment. And there was always these little lackeys of sorts who just wanted power themselves. There's like a lot of narcissism behind the people, they choose. They choose these sociopaths because they know they're not going to be good leaders. They're not going to bring people together. They're more interested in themselves. And then they take advantage of them. And this is why they can pull off and play like a bunch of bullshit. Like right now, they're trying to tell you that Xavier Becerra or Becerra, I don't even know how you say his name. I've heard it said Zephyr was, but the guy who's in the lead pretty much to run for governor, and then the Republican finished second, which means Xavier Becerra, who was Joe Biden's Health and Human Service HHS director. You know what I'm saying? This is what he was. He did a good job during COVID for the elites. Now they're going to give him the governorship. This is what we're dealing with. Please continue, Snork.
Well, I would just, every place I'd turn to, it just seemed like we were so corrupt. I left the party. They were like, it was my fault that I was anti-Biden, and then of course later anti-Harris. But if I have to say, the Republicans have never asked me to help rig an election. So I consider them to be the lesser of two evils. And I'm currently getting ready. I think it's in a week or two. I'm going to an independent Congress person's event, and I'm supporting them. If you know anybody that'll take on, talk to the independent candidates, let me know their names, and I'll send them his way. And but it is serious problem. It's serious enough that they took away the Iowa caucuses. They're not even going to pretend they're having one this time. And the polls are just,
so there's no Iowa caucus. What do they do then instead? Just a regular primary, or
it'll be a regular primary. And I haven't heard any other details. It's just that instead it's going to, I think, South Carolina first, which South Carolina is also extremely prone, rumor-wise, to be a very corrupt election for the beginning.
As an election integrity activist, I can tell you that the South Carolina elections are beyond rigged. This is where they turned it for Biden last time. The machines, they have a lot what's called DRE machines, which stand for Direct Recorded Electronical Device. You press a button and it casts your vote. And there's not a lot of tracking with that. There's no transparency whatsoever, and they can easily flip an election in South Carolina anytime they want. Now, listen, somebody in the chat, and good morning, Lady Alex. She said, wasting more time with electoral politics. She said it, right? Alex, do you still believe that the Republicans are the lesser of two evils? Do you feel that way? Or are you looking outside? What are your thoughts? What's your avenue? What are you going at? And also, too, as well, I'd like to hear from Snorky. If we don't participate in electoral politics, some people say when you do participate in electoral politics, you're actually capitulating to the establishment. But if you don't participate in electoral politics, you're then allowing them to choose your rulers anyways. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, obviously, Pasta. We need a full, we need a full scale people's revolution to topple down the oppressive capitalistic and exploitative structure of the United States, and build something better like a new world order in its place. That's clearly the only solution. No, I'm kidding, but when you
really, you're kidding? Oh, wow, I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a joke.
Okay. No. I see your point. I see this lady's point. The whole thing is a little bit tiresome. You either get to vote for the adrenochrome drinking. You get to vote for the adrenochrome drinking pedophile, or you could choose, get this, the other adrenochrome drinking pedophile to vote for. And this is democracy, and you're making a really well informed choice to help shape your country. But here's kind of the thing, right? It's that. No, I do not think that the Republican Party is the lesser of two evils. I think that what you're getting is a different kind of evil, and both are sort of working hand in hand to move this evil into the further direction of their choosing. But here's the other catch-22, and it's that, like, if you don't vote, or if you don't participate, or if you're not involved, then what happens is you do get this revolution, and generally speaking, like, you get this revolution, you don't really know what's going to come out of this revolution. You might get something even worse. You might get more authoritarianism. You might get, like, look at the influencer class that's on social media. As much as this system has its problems, I don't want these influencers running shit. These are on, like, it's like whenever I go on X and see these people talking about quote unquote revolution, like, I feel like I'm walking into a psychiatric facility every time I log on. So yeah, I get your point, but you also got to be kind of careful as to what the alternative leads to. Now, here's what else I'm going to say about this, right? And it's that right now, the Trump administration is actually, and this is not a good thing, okay? So let me please finish what I'm saying. The Trump administration is actually doing a really good job of galvanizing their base to go and vote in the midterms. You had Trump giving a speech talking about, we're finally got evidence to address the voter fraud, and we're going to go after China, and they colluded with the deep state to help rig the 2020 election in favor of Joe Biden. And then Dr. Fauci's, but more importantly, let's talk about Dr. Fauci's journal. Did you see Dr. Fauci's journal come out? You saw that? No, you didn't see it? Okay, so Rand Paul released segments of Dr. Fauci's journal where he was basically saying that the virus came from a lab. He was writing about the death toll in his journal, while at the same time praising himself for being on the cover of the New Yorker or the New York Times or something like that. So this guy's more of a narcissist than Donald Trump when you listen to his journal, and he was doing everything that he was doing was entirely self-serving. And then he was bragging about how he secretly got the governors of New York and California to issue these insane COVID mandates, which have created a ton of problems for a lot of regular working people via inflation, small businesses shutting down. It's a big catalyst for why we're so divisive now, especially online and on the internet. And, where I am at in a small town, it's really not so bad. It's actually fine there. It's great where I'm at. And it's great where I am in, like, Fredericksburg and whatnot. But you go to places like Austin, I'm sure even in New York or in LA or in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Chicago, the political division it's off the charts.
Yeah.
And
can I say something
hold
real
on.
quick, though?
Let me finish my thing.
Yeah, but it's important about the Dr. Fauci stuff, because I don't want to get too far away from that.
I don't want to. Okay. But what I want to say, though,
good.
This is tying into it, right? So what I'm saying is that, this stuff about exploiting Fauci, and you said nothing's going to happen to him, the COVID psyops. Okay, sure, but here's the thing. I actually think that there's a small chance that they might do something about Dr. Fauci. States might use their authority to arrest him. What I'm saying is that I would not be surprised if this administration actually takes meaningful action this go around to galvanize their base, because you know what happens when the Republicans continue getting majorities? You get more flock cameras. You get more of this invasive surveillance tech coming to you. And the ultimate goal is, if the ultimate goal is like a digital mass surveillance prison, people still have to consent to it. And the way to consent to it is to vote for the Republicans in the midterm. So Trump is actually doing a lot of things that I wish he would have done earlier, but don't get caught up and don't get too caught up in that if you're like a Republican or you're a right-leaning person, because I think this is kind of like walking into a trap.
Okay. So I do feel that you're kind of like you when you're saying certain things. I'm not putting this completely on you. In a sense, I feel like you still feel maybe that the conservatives, the Republicans, are the lesser of two evils, right?
No, I don't think so at
No,
all.
or-
Fuck though. Did you not listen to what I was saying? Absolutely not. It's a
I did,
different.
but you did say that Trump is doing some of the things you wish he'd done earlier.
Yeah, but it's not because he's a lesser of two evils. It's because it's facilitating a different kind of evil, which is flock cameras in an AI surveillance state.
Yes. Okay. But so the things that you think you're doing, but the things that you think he should be doing too as well are for me are kind of like, I do agree with. Was it Lady or Stacy who put that up? It's a little meaningless. Okay, Donald Trump is just as needs to be held accountable to what happened during COVID, just as accountable as Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Well,
It wasn't Dr. Anthony Fauci who signed the CARES Act. It was Donald Trump. He was a daddy Operation Warp Speed. And I think there's a reason why Donald Trump is completely getting booed wherever he's at, right? I don't believe that he can recover anything whatsoever. I think there's so many people who have now kind of walked away. I think they're confused about where to go and what to do. But we see him getting booed on a regular basis. We also see videos of him. And by the way, him falling down was an AI-generated video. It looks like
I didn't see that.
Yeah, him collapsing, I think, was fake, and they put that out there, so that's not going to work. But there is a real video of him out there, and kind of to back what you're saying, to put a little oomph behind what you just said, of him kind of still praising data centers. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. So now you have Operation Warp Speed. You have data centers. The Maha movement, they're ready to walk away completely. I don't think he can recuperate for this. I still think people are just left in limbo and don't know where to go. Snork, I'll let you jump in real quick. Go ahead, buddy. You're on the line.
No problem. Trying to catch up. Going way back. First, lab leak versus bats and whatever. If it was animal involved, there's one source I would truly view as ultimate. That's it. National Animal Disease Center in Ames, Iowa, and not a peep from them in 5 years saying it was an animal. So
yeah, no,
we know they're the experts.
Yeah, I think the question is, was it a lab leak? Or was it a bioweapon let out purposely? Those are the two choices I think a lot of people have said.
No, it's obviously that the choice is bioweapon. The point is that the fact that it's becoming out in the open right now, and this overwhelming evidence is happening right now, it's not because they care about justice or finding the truth or accountability. And even if you do get accountability for COVID, it's a Trojan horse for something worse potentially. So I generally think that the reason that you kind of want to vote, and I hate saying this, and I don't want to sound like Nick Fuentes about voting for the Democrats, but maybe the only reason that you'd want to vote for the Democrats, the big reason to vote for the Democrats, is not because they're any better or worse, but it's because considering how fucked up our political system is, where it stands right now, the best thing to happen is for nothing to happen, and a split Congress is the best way to kind of ensure that.
Yeah. Well, our guest Andrew Ziegman says that too. Go ahead, Snorky.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. When it comes to a vote and getting something done, I'm starting to get depressed about it to the point where it seems like if we want our votes to count at all, then we have to be able to get the right to vote in the Israeli election.
What?
I didn't want to drag Alex into that whole thing over there. I feel like he's just got an impossible mission.
No, okay. Here's my view about this. I think that
oh no. Think first before you speak, buddy.
I think that the unilateral,
you're gonna open up a can of shitworms.
It's not a can of shitworms. It's just this obsession with Israel and a small foreign country the size of New Jersey, even though there's certain things that are obviously wrong, and I don't think Israeli surveillance tech should be brought to America because the security needs of both countries are very, very different. We don't need that stuff here.
That's both sides of your mouth you're talking out there.
No, it's the truth.
The size of New Jersey, it doesn't matter. Don't fucking plant seeds.
But it is.
Doesn't make a difference. They bought off almost every member of Congress. Come on, dude.
Everybody
Don't
buys
start.
off. They're not the and you think that they're the only ones who buy off every member of Congress?
They're the majority of ones who buy off members of
they
Congress.
Are not.
Yes, they are. There are Israeli flags all over the fucking state capitol.
Okay,
You're not going to get away with this.
Look at the financial reports.
Sure, Qatar's pulling the strings.
No, fuck you. It's not Qatar. It's like the National Association of Realtors. It's like other just businesses that have nothing.
I agree
to do with
that there's other people involved, but when it comes to foreign policy, they are the main driving bus.
I think that the unilateral obsession with Israel is not. I think a lot of regular people that are not living online and constantly consuming alternative media. I think it loses a lot of people and it's causing people to tune out. And it's actually might be doing the opposite of producing a mass awakening for a greater purpose. And I do think that when it comes to elections, like there's obviously rigging, there's obvious fraud when it comes to this stuff, right? We're not arguing, but in order for fraud to work, there has to be a margin of fraud that they can get away with. And if you go out and vote, and if you actually are informed and you actually approach this from a standpoint of being level-headed and rational and like from a purple tide data-driven perspective where your emotions are in check, you can still actually get a little more done than you think. These politicians are a little bit more accessible than you're led on to believe. I drive a tricycle for a living, and when I was like in 2023, I was going to the state capitol, knocking people's doors with the camera. State reps in Texas talking about the Restrict Act, and they were openly communicating about this. So, like, these politicians, at the end of the day, they care about two things, right? Getting reelected and whether or not they're getting approval on social media. So if people are actually aware of what's going on and they're in tune and they approach this correctly, and these grievances don't turn into like a conspiratorial, like an openly conspiratorial, like digital insane asylum, then yeah, you can still enact change and do things. It's not as things are not like great, but they're not as bad as some of your favorite doomer podcasters would make you believe.
Okay. So I'm going to let Snorky get the last word there too as well. Let me just say this much, that I don't agree with Alex to the point, obviously, on the level in which Israel does kind of have a lot of influence, but I do agree with him that there are other entities involved. And at the end of the day, I don't believe that the people who are controlling things are Jewish, Gentile, Christian, Muslim, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that they weaponize all weapons. They're Satanist of sorts, right? They're rich individuals. I don't want to say enriched. What's the word? They're individuals who control all the resources, whatnot. This is their fucking playground, and they're all walking hand in hand to make sure that they control things. And it seems like a lot of them, every so many years, want to cleanse they're Malthusians. They want to cleanse the world of people and stuff like that.
Well, it's because it's to create 15-minute cities and a manageable population to actually enact a global mass surveillance state government.
Absolutely,
you need people concentrated in major cities, and you need a small enough population that's easy to manage. The best way to do this is to discourage people from having children. And this is very general, but so
you kill them,
So you get these poison vaccines, you get poison food, you get this skyrocketing case of autism and other neurological disabilities from the poison that you're consuming orally and intravenously, and then you get the whole thing about the trans kids on the left, and then on the right you got looks maxing and pickup artistry. So all of this is going hand in hand to kind of like create toxic feminism, male loneliness epidemic, all this other stuff. All of this stuff is actively
but that stuff is paid. I mean, those things are just over fucking played more than anything else. Dropping bombs and actually killing people are the main issue we have to deal with right now. And let me just say this much: the fact that we have to try and do something in the system that exists that doesn't work for us all, we need to reject the system as a whole. The fact that they're giving these choices.
Okay, fine then. Let's say we reject the system and we get a bottom-up revolution for the people. Like, how things work? Like, what
let's ask Professor Snorky how they'll work.
Professor, let's go.
Yeah, Professor, how do we make this work if we have to reject the system as a whole?
Well, revolution would be absolute horror. We have all kinds of things, weapons and stuff that I can't imagine less than half the population surviving a revolution.
Well, and you know
economically, and everything.
Sorry.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
Okay.
Hold your thought. Let him speak. Go ahead, Snorky.
But when it comes back to the flags, I kind of agree. I think that a congressperson's Senate should be immediately removed from office if they have. There's only 3 flags that I feel are acceptable for them to wear when they're in Congress, and that's a U.S. flag, the state flag for where they represent, and a Buc-ee's T-shirt. That's it.
I fully support the
else,
Buc-ee's T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. I know, right?
I really think that the Congress, Senate need to represent the United States interests, not concentrate on another country first. I also don't want to see anybody but the U.S. federal government doing international policy. So instance, I don't think that all the governors should be going off to some country to be told what their decisions are going to be. I don't think city mayors should be flying over to another country and giving money to these other countries. No, we have a State Department. State Department only
I agree.
should
So
be giving money out.
In Austin, a bunch of city council members took a trip on taxpayer money to Amsterdam to promote literally riding bicycles more in urban environments. And I agree. You shouldn't go to any of these foreign countries on taxpayer dime. None.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
No.
And I'm going to say this like I've said this before. I get it. And even if we were to eliminate that, here's the problem. It isn't just only this one country that's making all the money. We talked about the fact that the war machine, a lot of it owned by the majority principal, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, right? And it's the American, once again, stockholder that makes a lot of money. And is okay with bombing women and children because they're making money off it. So even if they were to represent the American society is so fucked up. Like, what do we do right now? Because where are people's principles, right? There's no morality for a lot of people, and they can have these conversations. The videos that we played before Alex Strenger came on with these guys saying, unfortunately, the only thing, and Donald Trump loves people, but annihilation is the only, way to go. They buy into this shit. They listen to this shit. They have a G.I. Joe mentality. They're so separated from what's going on outside these borders that they kind of endorse this type of bullshit, some of the people without even being paid off.
What do you think should replace the dollar?
Hold on. We'll get to that. Hold on to that.
But that's kind of a big reason why, because we have to preserve
I get it. Well, before we get to your Bitcoin, please.
No, I'm not
before we get to it,
all right,
replacing the dollar is just one thing. I'm talking about the whole mentality of a fucking society here first that we need to address. And I wanted to hear
Storky. That mentality is being conditioned by the media, and a lot of that and that's done to manufacture consent for a lot of things. And a big reason why that's happening is because we have to preserve our number one currency status, because if we don't, you're going to get a whole avalanche of problems in America that are going to be a lot worse than whatever's happening globally. So that's kind of where it ties
Well, when you're talking about replacing the dollar, there's other things we do first, right? We start growing our own food, making our own bullets. That's the first thing, right? We tap into that resource first. We start doing stuff for ourselves. Like Snorky said before, we don't make anything, we don't fix anything, we just throw it out and stuff. We have to change the whole system. And that's something we haven't done for quite some time. And there's a lot of work to be done in the United States as far as our infrastructure alone that could put people back to doing stuff for society. Go ahead, Snorky. We're going to give you the last 30 seconds.
Sorry about it. I definitely think we need to start with garbage. We have all kinds of people that need work. We got to be honest about it. And we have a tremendous garbage problem. And we should take and make a national program that you could start sorting garbage everywhere. Not these fake things that we're doing in towns and make it look like we're doing recycling, but recover everything. Turn anything that can be made into fuel. Just go through and start a bunch of national programs to put people to work. We need to be thinking about what has to be done to get the country on track. In the 1930s, how we got out of the Depression was we made government jobs, and not government jobs where you just paid people, but jobs where when they did something, like our national parks and especially our park system, where we went out and we made parks. So at least all the future generations could go to those wonderful parks and enjoy them that were made by paying people that couldn't find any work to eat or live. And the next thing, we need to be able to eat, live, and whatever. All of our economic is just, I believe the urban people versus the rural people, the urban people do not see how bad it is in the rural areas. So the people that supply you food are just borderline to the point where they almost cannot afford to grow food. We just have these tremendous things where lettuce in the Midwest, if you eat lettuce, you're going to be on the toilet for a year. So the amount of time it takes for a head of lettuce to get from California or Florida to here is the amount of time it takes for this diarrhea to grow on the vegetables. So you might not see it. Yeah, so you might not see it out in those states, but out here we get it bad. And so, like I said, we have to start thinking about what do we do to heal us, not what do we need to do to heal other countries.
And hold on a second. Hold on a second, Alex. We used a form of communism, right? The Communist Party was really strong during the FDR term, and they used that mentality, the workers' revolution of sorts, to put people back to work, whatnot. But then they infiltrated everything from the inside, and they made sure they got rid of any form of communism or socialism or working party. And that's the big issue right now. We can get people back to work. We have all the resources. I put the comment up from Ty, you know what I'm saying, who was actually Dave from Melbourne. We have a gold mine of things over here. But the only problem is, and I'm so sorry to sound like a communist or a socialist and stuff, but it's the corporatist working capitalist class that's going to control things at the end of the day. And that has to change somehow. Go ahead, Alex. And thank you, Snorky, for calling on in, buddy.
All right, bye.
All right, buddy.
All right, so I think that community food forests and taxpayer-funded gardens are a very realistic thing. You could implement that stuff without. You could implement that stuff and get pretty much 99% of I think people who live in pretty much every municipality in America to agree on this without even talking about a foreign country, regardless of your viewpoints. We could just get that done. I don't think that's that difficult to do. I think that there are a lot of farmer markets that you're not gonna have diarrhea lettuce getting lettuce from a farmer's market, and growing your own food is not that difficult. Like, we have a garden in our house, in our backyard. It's kind of hard to see with the light, but we have a little garden in our backyard where we're growing asparagus. We got squash, we got cucumbers, tomatoes, okra, et cetera, right? So I think that more people, I think that education in terms of how to grow your own food is huge. I think that a lot of this does start at the school level too. And I think a big thing I was saying too is, like, when they had all this stuff with the trans kids and the LGBTQ education that was kind of being bombarded everywhere. What I was telling people is that I think that you should replace all of those. I was telling a lot of these conservative school board candidates that were running in place of that. And by the way, a lot of these people, especially in Round Rock and that area, were just losing horribly because their whole solution was just Bible thumping. But if you were to replace a lot of this LGBTQ literature, which doesn't even help anybody, by the way, with like a book on gardening, you could change the game within a generation. And there's nothing more inclusive than growing your own food. That's literally for everybody. There's also a lot of food there's an absurd amount of food that gets thrown away by farmers because the food doesn't look a certain way, even though the nutritional content is just the same as everything else. There's a ton of food from restaurants that gets thrown away every single day because of bureaucratic nonsense that could be used to feed homeless people, that could be put into community grocery stores to make food cheaper. Like, there are really simple, easy, basic things that we can do to address food insecurity in America at a very minimal cost. And a lot of these big ad companies would very likely lobby against that because it would destroy the stranglehold that they have on food production. I think that when it comes to stuff like this, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, everybody wants to eat real food. That's a universal issue that everybody can get behind. And when politicians who are running for office, specifically locally, and specifically in like smaller towns where like that big city money isn't really circulating, if you put pressure on politicians to do this, they will still openly. These guys are ultimately. These are very simple creatures. These politicians. They're not complicated. They're not that intelligent. They're not deep people.
Yeah, but they're there because they were placed there, Alex. They're not just showing up like a.
No, they're very shallow. No, but it's I know.
The system was rigged to put them there for a reason.
Yes,
and
because
you're not
you put
going
self-serving
to change them anyway. I mean, you have mentioned several times.
Okay.
You have mentioned several times in today that like, oh, we can kind of convince these people and whatnot. They're no, they shouldn't even be there.
Because you're right. Like a bunch of self-serving morons are who wind up running our political system. We both agree on that, right?
They're more than self-serving. They were placed there by a ruling class.
Not everybody, though. Like, not
the majority of everybody you see in Congress was placed there.
I'm not talking about
the ruling class.
I'm talking about like your city council members and state reps. We're talking about like a little bit more.
All right, yeah, you got it. I'll give you that. Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Because a lot of this change actually happens at the local level and at the state level. And these people are not adrenochrome drinking pedophiles that are bought off by massive entities. These are regular people who are just extremely self-serving, and the thing that they care most about is getting reelected and continuing to go to the cocktail party that they get to go to for free whenever they're in office. Right?
I'd say it's like somewhat. I would say there's somewhat of an avenue of what you're saying, but even on that local level, the ruling class understands that they're going to buy up that system.
Yes, but the point is that if you can overwhelmingly pressure your politicians to like provide real food to the community, that pressure could easily outweigh the money that they get from big agriculture in a lot of areas. And I think that if you focus on those areas, you can still get a lot of stuff done, even though it's not going to be perfect. There are going to still be huge problems and huge pockets of massive issues in major cities.
Okay. Let's play a video I gave it, Sleepy, the last clip I put up in the private chat. That is an interesting point. I still think it's.
I mean, I agree with him. I mean, I don't know if the politicians are going to do it, but I think people need to get it done. And I think that's doable.
I think it's more of the people getting together and demanding the things he talked about.
Yeah, and it gets carried away, but it still gets carried away through legislation because that's the society we live in. So yes, that's.
But what I'm trying to say is that we can't convince anybody to do anything that way. The way we convince people is we're outside their office with pitchforks and say, you either vote for this or
not
that.
Cameras,
and that gets back to revolution again.
The pitchforks,
they got to be scared. They got to be scared.
Okay, and the cameras do actually scare these people because mass media is the newest form of warfare.
I get it, but we do have other forms of getting stuff out there. We saw what happened with TikTok, right? And the one time I remember more than anything, and once again, the ruling class was able to do this, was the Iraq war in the beginning when they were going against the empire. Then they turned it into George Bush's war, and everybody split and started fighting each other. But in the beginning, the ruling class was scared shitless when they saw a couple million people in the streets. Guys, we're going to play a clip here from Tim Dillon. Now, everything Tim Dillon is saying, had you listened to me and Fiorella and some other people like that a long time ago, we would have told you this before you went out there and said, all right, we're gonna take our chances with Donald Trump. These are things we were saying from the get-go, that he was part of the whole system. He wasn't fighting the system. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we got played and fooled by Obama.
But I also
situation.
I also do think in a way that it is a little bit in a way it's actually very liberating to see everything play out because now you realize that nobody is coming to save you and that this is part of a greater structure. And at the end of the day, like the more when you get overly worked up over politics, you are putting in a bunch of unnecessary energy towards servicing a machine. And when you put that energy towards servicing
the community
and the people around you, then you can kind of use that machine to help your community instead of servicing an outrage machine for clicks online.
Let's go full screen on this. Let's take us down, Sleepy. This is Tim Dowling. If you guys want to call in 561-247-2721. That is 561-247-2721. This is Drive Time. I'm here with Sleepy J, Alex Strenger, Craig Pasta Jardula, all the lovely people in the chat. We love you. Take a listen. Here's what Tim Dillon's saying now.
And people get mad at me. What are you saying? There's no deep state? No, dummy. But if the deep state can never be affected or impacted or changed, then why even elect this guy? Why did you all get excited and wear the dumb hats, dummies? Why did you care so much about this guy and his election if this deep state, if you were just going to blame everything on the deep state, then what the hell was the point? Why did you go to the rally? Were you just trying to go to a concert? And that's really what it was. Did you just like the merch? Why did you care so much about this guy? Why isn't he investigating his own assassination attempt? Let's talk about the deep state for a minute, by the way. Why don't we know anything about the guy that assassinated him? Okay? Or tried to. Sorry, attempted. I'm not saying there's no I'm not saying there's not some permanent government apparatus. I've talked about it a million times on the show. I get it. But for the people that ran on upending the deep state to then come in and blame things on the deep state, seems like you have to be an idiot for that to work. Why were you excited for this guy to win? Why did anyone think it would be interesting for this guy to win if he was just going to do all the things that this deep state wants him to do? What is he doing that they don't like, by the way? Maybe some tariffs that'll just expire the minute he's out of office? He's in Iran. He kidnapped Maduro. Flock cameras are everywhere. The tech people are getting all the money. So who is this deep state again? Who are these people that are really upset and up in arms with him? Who are they? I don't know who they are. He seems to be. What would they want him to do that he's not doing? He seems to be pretty lockstep with all of these people. Surveillance technology is everywhere. The pace at which unregulated AI is going to grow and become a real problem is harrowing. We're about to commit troops to a war with a country and we'll probably lose. That's the other thing. Unless we put 1 million people in there and hold their government free, and then what'll winning look like? It'll just be tallies of dead people. It's going to be a nightmare. It won't feel like winning. It'll feel like losing, and it'll probably be actually losing too, because there's not much you can do in that country. But again, we're on the brink of that. We're on the brink of that. So again, I'm asking all the smart people, and I'm excluding the paid hack MAGA people that are getting paid by this. That's great. He unwound DEI. Ta-da! Great. I'm all for that.
But did he really unwind DEI and why? And all for that? Why are so people fixated on that fucking bullshit? It's just so like
there is Tim is missing out on one very important benefit as for Trump winning, because a lot of stuff he's right about. There's no. I'm not going to sit and argue and pick apart what he's saying, but before Trump got back into office, he was being used as a boogeyman to censor dissent and free speech. And him being in office got rid of that boogeyman, because a lot of these Trump voters realized that Donald Trump is no different than anybody else, and that boogeyman is no longer on the table.
Yeah. I think what Tim Dillon was also trying to say that is he is part of the deep state.
Right.
Donald Trump was taking on the deep state, but we got to admit for the fact he is part of the deep state. Something we said for quite some time. Josh,
but the boogeyman, that boogeyman is no longer in the room. And the silver lining is taking that boogeyman out, because now they have to find a new boogeyman. And in the meantime, we can actually talk with each other openly about this without being down each other's throat. Like a guy who voted for Donald Trump and a guy who voted for Bernie Sanders can actually have a civilized discussion about how to make the country better, their community better, without feeling like they're constantly being vilified, because the mythos surrounding Donald Trump no longer exists. And why am I echoing?
It's probably me again. Is it me or
no?
That's
It's
Sleepy.
me.
It's got to be you.
I have headphones on, man. It's you.
I have headphones on also.
Is it me?
You. Yeah. Test. Yeah, it's you.
All right. What do I do? How do I fix this?
You're fine. It's his mic is picking
You
up.
still see the it doesn't pick up. Can you still hear the echo right now, Alex?
No.
Okay.
Now I do.
It's definitely yours. We both have headphones on. So.
Yeah, maybe I unplug my mic and do this again, or I leave the chat and come back? What do I do?
Did you hear the echo again when you're talking?
I'm hearing it when I talk.
Not
Yeah.
when you were
Wait.
muted.
All right, that actually sounds better now. Okay, we got it. We fixed it. Yay. Well,
Yeah,
no, we
that's
didn't.
because you unmuted.
Try it now.
All right, am I echoing?
I don't hear an echo.
Tiny bit, but barely.
All right, well, we'll do. We'll it'll do.
That's weird because I don't ever hear the echo. Ever. But then again, maybe it is my shit.
Hey,
I'm
Tim
gonna
look. Tim
try.
Dillon's right about a lot of paid MAGA hacks that are promoting all this bullshit, but there's also a lot of paid people on the other end that are being paid to post doomer content on both the left and the right.
Of course.
So it's everything is kind of like a paid ecosystem.
I agree. Like I said, we have to reject the system as a whole. We can't reject either politicians on either side. The system of the whole has to go. No, just heard the echo. Did you hear the echo again, Echo? Echoing?
Woo!
I turned Alex's mic down a little bit.
Maybe that could be it. Okay.
We haven't had these problems before. Why are we having them now?
It's probably because he's out. He's outside. Maybe. Outside is different.
I guess we'll be inside from now on in my little office. But no, the deep state is.
It's nice outside. I get it.
It is. Well, the deep state is clearly it's the deep state is sabotaging us because they don't want us to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Controlled opposition is right, guys. By the way, we have about 32 people over on the YouTube. On the Rumble, we're at 20. So we're a little over 50 people today. We had like 100 people in the chat last week.
Got a lot of comments. I'm digging this. This is cool.
Yeah, it's a great audience. It really is.
I've actually been learning about CIA robot birds. I learned a little bit about it yesterday. It was really cool.
Dave, will you call on in for this guy? He's waiting to hear about CIA robot birds. At least you can bond over that.
Oh, dude, Project Aquiline, that's crazy. Developed in the 1960s, and it's being used as a clandestine operation to surveil opposing governments. It just can't be carried out domestically because of the battery power and logistics and whatnot. It's not a good way to carry out mass surveillance in the United States, but it is really good for foreign operations.
And look, I appreciate Tim Dillon saying what he's saying right now, but I don't understand why it's Tim Dillon and Theo Vaughn are getting all like the fucking. These are shit people were saying. There's some of us were saying a long time ago. And like I've said, it's not that maybe we're not as, good looking or whatever, or as funny as Tim Dillon and Theo Vaughn and stuff. But we've been saying this shit for quite some time. And I will guarantee you that we are still censored. And the part to me that is so upsetting when it comes to what's happening right now with Donald Trump is one of the things that that Make America Great Again hat again was supposed to stand for was like, we're going to return to due process. We're going to return to freedom of speech. Like he made you believe that he's going to stop the censorship from YouTube across the board for everybody. And that wasn't the case. It was certain people that got let out of the cage, and a lot of other people are still in the cage. Jared Beck, who was one of the lawyers for the Bernie Sanders DNC lawsuit, him and his wife still have never gotten their Twitter back.
Yeah,
still have been silent.
I think by and large, though, the censorship is actually being replaced by oversaturation. And
no, censorship still exists.
Yeah, I know, but it's not as bad. And a bigger problem that you're dealing with is that everything is so oversaturated that it's hard to differentiate.
That's a form of censorship, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
They can lift up other voices, right? They lift up other voices while the other ones stay down. So it is a form of it's addition by subtraction or addition by addition. Either way, it's a controlled narrative management.
It's also algorithmic silos, like. What I see on my feed is going to be different from
someone I have 46,000 followers on X, and every time I post, I get like 3 likes. And I had more engagement on this platform when I had less than 1,000 followers. And it's not like that big of a deal. I don't care. It's like trying to be like popular in high school, and if that's your goal, you're just lame as fuck. But it is something I noticed, and it's a little anti-free speech, and it is a little odd that I did work to create a big account, and I put myself on the line physically, financially, socially to make the stuff I was making, because at the time I thought I was doing something for a greater good. And then, while that's happening, some guy gets to drop N-bombs with a hard R and get a massive check from X, whereas like I try to say things that are like thoughtful and based on the truth. and no response and nobody cares. And that is a little frustrating, but at the end of the day, you can live life and get offline. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why I've just said, well, good thing I drive a tricycle for a living and I can run a small business and take care of my family without having to rely on this.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, the reason why you're back on the show is because of that attitude. Like I said, if a revolution were to come and stuff, even though we've had some differences on certain things, I think for the majority of the good things, I think your heart's in the right place. And you,
I think your heart's in the right place too. Even if we disagree about this one elephant in the room, who cares? We're focusing on what's going on in America within our communities. Like, I don't give a shit about your views on Israel as long as like we fix things locally. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, some people argue that you got to do both at the same time. We can have those conversations, and like I said, and a lot of people, some of the criticisms I've seen on Alex is the fact that they feel you focus so much on the woke stuff as if that's the biggest.
No,
issue.
I barely talked about that at all. I haven't talked about that stuff. I'm bringing it up as a
I'm just saying this is what some people say from looking at some of the stuff with the chat, right? And I do think that there is a lot of society where a lot of people did concentrate. The woke stuff is so bad. It's like, yeah, I get it, but so is globalism, so is war, so are flock cameras, so is the fourth industrial revolution.
So wokeness is being exploited to advance this agenda, just like patriotism and crime and DEI and everything else on the opposite end is also focused on expanding this agenda through a different avenue. That's what I've been saying. I've not talked about wokeness or anything like that this entire conversation. I've just brought it up as a point that it's being used to steer us in a different direction than what I thought a few years ago, but it's still a bad direction. And either way, it seems like you're trying to patch holes in the Titanic.
Fair enough. Guys, we want you to call on in. It's 561-247-2721. It's 561-247-2721. We have about 39 minutes left of the show. There will be no show tomorrow as I will be traveling back to the United States, and we'll pick back up with Karen Kwiatkowski on Wednesday, which last Wednesday's show was a great show. We actually had over 100 people watching at one time. Right now, we got a good number. We got 33 people from YouTube, and we lost some people on Rumble. What's going on, Alex? I brought you in to get my Rumble numbers up, and here we are. We're slipping.
Censorship,
what are you doing?
Censorship, Pasta. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's
Son
censorship.
Of a bitch.
If you're not like blatantly repeating MAGA talking points, or if you're not like shitting on the Jews, you're not gonna get any views. They say no Jews, no views, no Jews, no Jews, no news, no Jews, no views. Also, apparently, is what's kind of happening.
To be honest with you, I don't shit on Jews. I shit on Zionists. I shit on Zionists. Big difference.
Yes. Well, sure, whatever. Look, the point is though that you actually try to operate in good faith and you're genuine in what you believe and you care about what you say, and whether we agree or not, or whether you're right or wrong, like you are in your heart is in the right place too. And because you're trying to operate in good faith, your numbers are also low because these people don't want to have a good faith discussion in any avenue, right or left.
Did you see?
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong on that one, for sure.
What
do you think about? Did you hear any of the Nick Fuentes?
I was listening to. Oh, dude, I was listening to this on my way home because I was trying not to go to sleep in my car driving, and I'm like, let me listen. I was joking around about how I was going to listen to an Alex Jones podcast just because him yelling will keep me awake. And then somebody told me that I should listen to Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden do their interview. And I said, you know what? I hate both of these people. This would actually be a really good idea. And I'm listening to this and I'm just like, yo, these guys sound really intelligent, really articulate, really put together. Like they sound like this from what I was for first like 20 or 30 minutes I was listening to. It was a good faith discussion. By the way, I wound up falling asleep, so that didn't work. But be that as it may, these guys sounded good. And the fact that these assholes are able to sound this good means that this is clearly a psychological operation.
By the way, somebody did ask about calling in from outside the United States. We'll try to kind of figure that out. Karen Kwiatkowski will be on the show on Wednesday. I put a clip, Sleepy, in the private chat. I want to welcome Gabrielle Freedom. She's in the chat. She's one of our producers holding things down. Of course, thank you so much, Gabrielle. Good morning. Guys, thank you for everybody else who's been participating all day today. Those numbers on Rumble, let's get those up. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Hi, Orion Spectrum. Good to see you. And Madamus, good to see you as well. Let's take a listen here. This is a little bit of a clip from Nick Fuentes, Andrew Callahan, who was on the episode of Surrounded that I was on. There was a clip of me and Andrew Callahan when I was trying to convince him that the 9/11 attacks were an inside job, and he was trying to say it was from Al Qaeda, a lone wolf thing. It wasn't the United States government or any government for that matter. Let's take a listen. This is that video that made Alex Strenger go to sleep when he wanted to stay awake.
I want to find common ground of how much of a shithead Donald Trump is. We can get there. We can get there. Okay. What I don't understand is how you didn't recognize that in 2016, and how you didn't recognize that in 2020, and how you didn't recognize that in 2024. Because Donald Trump hasn't.
Can you pause that?
Because Donald Trump hasn't
Can
changed.
you pause that?
Donald Trump hasn't changed at all. Donald Trump
that.
has been Donald Trump since
Pause.
he came out of the womb of a.
Sleepy. Sorry. I lost my chain of thought. We did recognize that. We did know that was going on. But the fact is, they had your fucking dumbass fucking father as the only other fucking choice. And this is why. And I don't know what these dickheads are going to say to him right now. And they're not dickheads. Well, the one in the middle, Fuentes is a dickhead. I don't know what he's going to say right now in response. But once again, this is why the system as a whole needs to be rejected, because you can actually sit there and go, how did you not recognize those things? Maybe we recognized it, but a lot of people said, well, this is the lesser of two evils, and we're going to go that way. That's why. And I will not yell at Sleepy. Sorry, Sleepy. I didn't mean to yell at you. I didn't think you heard me. That's why I just yelled loud so you can hear me. Sorry, buddy.
You're good.
But anyways.
I'm kind of deaf, so it's bad.
No, it was my bad. I just didn't think you heard me, and I thought it was low, so I yelled loud. But yeah, this is the one thing. They put these candidates up there and they say, okay, pick. And you actually have to make a choice and which one you think are different than the other in a better way. But they're all the same. They serve the same masters. Let's roll into this some more.
Woman that was an immigrant to this country. And so what I want to know, though, is that I don't know how we get past this idea that the biggest problem that you have that with your personal situation and how you extrapolate that to the situation of other white kids that are your age, that feel disenfranchised, that feel left out, that feel they don't have a shot at the American dream, is because of black and brown people, because of Mexicans, because of Venezuelans, because of Haitians, it's always other, Nick, with you, it seems to me. And I've listened to a lot of the stuff. It's always them. We need to build a wall. Where's the wall, Nick? He never built the wall. Why'd you vote for him in 2020? Why'd you vote for him in 2024?
I didn't vote for him in 2024.
Okay. My point being is that whenever you identify your problem as being something that is other, that you can point to, that's a minority, that is a group of people, that's the Jews, before, remember, all of us, it was the Irish Catholics who were all committing the crime, who weren't allowed into bars, who weren't allowed into, because you know why? Because they were dirty, poor, non-Europeans. They were Irish. Every time it's wrong. Every time history has proven that to be wrong in the United States of America. Every time. Inclusion has been our greatest strength. Diversity has been our greatest strength. And I hear you talk about this idea of white culture. What fucking white culture are you talking about, man? What
Shakespeare, Dante, Mozart. We're in Philadelphia, the founding fathers.
Yeah.
That's your white culture.
How about the Count of Monte Cristo? Would you consider that part of our white culture?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it was written by a black man in France in the 1700s.
In a milieu of European civilization.
So what?
You're picking out one example. It really is.
I'm not just picking out one example.
It really is.
Nick.
Listen.
Nick, I'm not. I really am not.
Hey guys, I think we're reaching what's called a rock and a hard place. Let's talk about it.
Well, let me respond to this, because you're telling me I'm always blaming the other.
No, Nick, for real. Here's the thing, is that the way that you talk and throw out these historical facts, which, by the way, aren't fucking facts. Okay?
Which ones aren't facts?
As it relates to the Civil Rights Movement in 1968, and the reason why we're out in the problem that we're in is because the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed and shot by a white racist, white supremacist in 1968 on a balcony of a motel. That's the root of our trouble, because an entire people that have been disenfranchised and enslaved for over 400 years.
We're sick of hearing about that, though. It's 2026.
You may be sick of hearing about it, but you know what? They aren't. And I'll tell you what, Nick,
Get
here's
over
the other
it.
thing.
Get over it. It's America.
Okay, but Nick, you can say stuff like that, okay, without having to say it like that.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hunter Biden can easily say something like this when we know full well that not a single black guy lives within driving distance of his neighborhood.
Well, I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, that's
was that Hunter?
What?
Who?
Was that Hunter Biden?
Yeah, it was Hunter Biden.
Ah, he looks different without a crack pipe in his mouth.
Yeah, he actually sounds a lot like his father. It's crazy.
Well, that
I didn't even know it was him.
He was giving was Democratic Party rhetoric that they always give, right? To act like they're standing for the minority, like to act like they're standing for the immigrant. But when you look deep inside their policies, especially foreign policy wise, right? And you look at the United States, what it has done in Latin America, they're just as bad. They just virtue signal and make you believe like they do care.
So do the
when
Republicans.
they don't care.
And the Republicans virtue signal about how they care about freedom and liberty when they are the ones who collude the most with the tech companies to promote this AI surveillance dystopia.
Yeah. Hey, not wrong.
Yeah, not at all. Show me the lie. But that's interesting, and that really, to tell you the truth, is a microcosm of the macrocosm that is coming. That debate, that argument right there with Nick Fuentes, he's going to still kind of represent once again, that whole kind of that whites is society that's under attack. That, white people are under attack, Christians are under attack, bullshit that's coming your way. Get over it and whatnot. Like that. It's like, first of all, the guy who killed Dr. Martin Luther King was CIA. My mind, 100%. We know they were infiltrating him. We know what Hoover was doing. So I think he was killed CIA. Same thing with Fred Hampton, who was building the Rainbow Coalition and whatnot. So with that being said, we understand that these situations are put out there. And Hunter Biden, and once again, is not talking that language. He's talking about the language of, okay, this happened and we need to recognize this. And acting, the Democrats always act like they stand for the poor, disenfranchised, working peoples and immigrants and whatnot. But when you look at their policy, it's just awful. They're just as bad as the Republicans.
They're all a bunch of greedy bitches.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything you can say about Donald Trump, is like at least he's been honest with his bullshit, and he draws a different face for the empire. He finds those who are saying, well, we had to kill off all the Indians to start our own kind of nation. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been here. It's that kind of mentality. They'll capitulate on their principles. Yeah, we need flock cameras up everywhere. We got to stop the immigrant and the criminal. We do have a caller. Caller, who are you and where you're calling from?
Caller? Oh. Caller.
Looks like
we
lost him.
Let me reopen voice real quick.
Try again. Caller.
Give us a second.
All right, it's good. Go ahead, Alex. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, I forgot what I was even talking about at this point, but
so it does happen. It's a long show, and we can get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's just like the New World Order is having a right-wing makeover, and it's very obvious to anybody with a pulse that this is happening. But there's still a lot of things, white pill. There are a lot of things that you can still do to make yourself as New World Order proof as possible. And if more people practice self-autonomy and self-sovereignty, even if it's in small incremental steps, you still make it a lot harder for this agenda to come through. And just because a small group of globalists have an agenda that they've had forever to create this global government, the silver lining is that they are very inept, and these are like very, very insecure, very miserable, just very kind of incapable people of not only of doing this, because these people can barely manage themselves, right? Like the people that are kind of dictating these crazy ideals, like you put them in a gym, they could barely do a push-up, right? Like you're dealing with guys who go to these rooms and their wives are cheating them on a regular reoccurring basis with guys who look like me and you, right? So like you're dealing with guys who like want to be powerful, but the reason that they really want to be powerful, the reason why a lot of these guys are such control freaks is because they actually have no power in real life. And once you kind of realize that like the elephant is not as big and strong as you think it is, that's kind of like the first step. And I think that when it comes to like this flock stuff and a lot of this surveillance and a lot of these things that are happening, like sitting around complaining on the internet and getting angry or voting harder, it does nothing, right? But you still have precinct meetings. Like every city has its own GOP. Every county has its own GOP, right? You go to actually it's your county, not your city, but you go to your county GOP meetings and openly talk about how we don't want flock cameras and data centers being built everywhere. Even though I do think there's a place for AI and we should be winning the race, doesn't mean that you build an AI data center in every small town, especially where there's a massive water supply and you create water shortages and fire hazards, which force people to move into 15-minute cities when the next big weather event occurs, which I think is how this is being catalyzed, or it's a big way it's a big mechanism for the catalyzation. I think that when you show up to these precinct meetings, even though it's unglamorous and it takes time, and you show up there with a camera, and if enough people show up there with a camera and talk to the precinct chairs and talk to the heads of these organizations, and you have to do it politely and you have to sound articulate, and if enough people are doing this and broadcasting it, and if it's getting shared, then yeah, you actually, I think, can stop a lot of the stuff that's happening, because most of these people are just unaware. They're out of touch. The only people that they talk with are influencers and corporate lobbyists and autistic spurgs that live online. That's their interaction. If you start seeing real people post real complaints about why we don't want this surveillance apparatus coming here, and if you do it in a way that's polite and articulate, and you keep your calm and don't get angry and don't get worked up, I think that you can do a lot more than people think. And I also think that this podcast atmosphere, I don't know if it's intentional or deliberate, but if everybody's getting blackpilled and feeling a sense of doomerism from overly consuming media, maybe this is how you're inadvertently serving the New World Order that you're trying to stop.
I don't know. I mean, that is a hard circle to square, right? When you say people getting on frustrated, whatnot, and they're saying something, I don't know. I feel like at least they're recognizing what's in front of them. I just don't know if they know how to deal with it. And it's very much the quagmire that I still keep coming back to. Okay, we understand what the problem is. What is the solution, right? How do we take care of this? I don't know. It's tough trying to find a way.
It is
to
tough,
this
but there are also
messy environment.
there are also some very simple, basic things that you can do that are not that difficult.
Yeah,
and
I think you laid a lot of them out.
You realize that there are certain very simple, easy things that anybody can do. Like, I was able to do this, and I talked to a lot of state reps, and I got a lot of there was a point in time where I did get a lot of attention for what I was doing, and what I was doing did not require a ton of effort. It doesn't require a high amount of intelligence. Like, you listening to me talk for this hour and a half, like, there's nothing all that extraordinary about me. I'm a regular guy who drives a tricycle for a living. If I could do something like this, imagine what everyone else can do.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at also what they're talking about, like the narrative, the narrative managers they have out there, and sometimes I think the only guess is they're either one of two, right? They're either a paid propagandist or a useful idiot. But there are a lot of useful idiots out there, and people will go along. It's hard because people act within what they see, the parameters of what they think is going on. But if you understand all of it is faking gay, right? Is that what I believe? I believe that's what you people say. Then you
faking gay. They want you angry, and it doesn't matter what you're angry about. As long as you're angry, you are serving this machine. So the best way to actually counteract this machine is to manage your emotions, not get angry. Maybe touch some grass, work out, pray, eat real food, nurture your close relationships in person, spend time with your family, and then after that, you go and enact changes in whatever way you're capable of, because nothing is too little. The only thing that's too little is doing nothing, but it actually is easy to do something no matter how small it is. And if everybody had the attitude of, I'm going to just do something and share, and do it in a way in which I'm calm and measured, you can get a lot more done than what you think.
Yeah. Show me the lie there from Alex Strenger. Show me the lie. Numbers are growing, guys. Oh, we have a caller. Who are you and where are you calling from?
I'm Dave from Melbourne is what they call me. I'm still trying to figure
Dave,
out who
what's
I
up?
am.
Robot birds, let's go.
This guy has been talking about robot birds for weeks now, Dave.
You got me interested. I've learned a little bit. Yeah, I looked at it yesterday for a little bit before I went to work, and I learned about Project Aquiline and some patent that was made in 2021 by a bunch of scientists about how they want to build on this technology.
Well, I had been on the birds aren't real thing for a while, but it hadn't really caught my attention. But as a horror fan, when I noticed they were doing robot zombie birds, I'm like, okay, this
Wait, they
is
got
like
zombie.
next
Wait.
level.
They got zombie. I want to hear about the zombie birds.
Look up the article in Popular Mechanics when you have some time about robot zombie spy birds. It's in Popular Mechanics.
Hold
That's
on,
the
wait,
thing.
wait.
When you look for this stuff, you find more.
Yeah.
Robot zombie spy birds.
Let him
In
continue.
Popular
You
Mechanics,
take a
yeah.
look while he's looking. Yeah, go ahead. Please continue, Dave.
So what I wanted to say though, there are some really good ideas, and I give you credit for the growing and harvesting yourself, because I myself am an anarchist. I have my anarchist cookbook. While no man is a monolith, it's important to know how to produce all the things that we rely on in society, because we become kind of cyborg. However, we run into a real problem with other programs I've discussed on this show, which is like the sun dimming program. They're actively running this on us. We're currently roasting in Florida like it's a giant microwave, because they've got us in a giant global greenhouse effect. When you have cancer, if you ignore the cancer, it will eventually kill you. And this is a steadily building cancer that causes cancer and exacerbates cancers before you get to any of the other crazy transhumanism. Now, what I'm
Have you
really
ever seen the
alarmed
movie?
by is...
Ever seen the movie Frankenskies?
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
All of them. I've seen them all. And the thing is, in the book, Frankenstein was actually a rather beautiful creature.
Frankenskies. It's a documentary.
Oh, Frankenskies, yeah. No, and the Just Look Up documentary that was done this year, you can find it on BitChute or Geoengineering Watch. You really got to look at this stuff and then, like you said, go outside and touch grass, but realize everything we're ingesting and inhaling is robbing us of nutrient. It's attacking us at the mitochondrial level. So when you say things like Israel isn't our main problem, their name literally means we who oppose or struggle against creation, God, sunlight, indicated by Ra. That's their word origin, dude. That's their
what
title.
Israel. Wait, hold on a second. That sounds a little crazy. So the word Israel means
we who struggle, stand against, or stand opposed to creation, God, or sunlight.
Wait,
that is what it means in word origin.
Wait, we who struggle or stand.
Where did you find that at, Dave?
The Hebrew word origin. Just look up the Hebrew word origin of Israel. Ra means sun. Is like we as a collective, the original plural, and El means him, he, creator. So
but
yeah, it's the literal translation. Yeah, seriously, it's a crazy thing.
It comes from the Hebrew Bible, which is rooted between Jacob and God. Jacob wrestling with God, and then God changes his name to Israel. It's in the book of Genesis. That's talked about way before any of that even comes into being.
But that's Scofield edits, okay? Any Bible that was written since 1909 was a Scofield edit.
That's not Scofield. It's the
and
Torah.
Scofield,
It's in the Torah. Like that's in the Hebrew Torah. That's a translation from the Hebrew Torah. That's just not true.
Try not to get so upset, okay?
I'm not upset, but that's just not. No, I'm not upset. I'm not. But
let him speak, Alex. Let him speak.
If you talk to theologians, okay, if you look at the word origin, because one word can mean many things, like El can mean Enlil, it can mean creator, it can mean God, Ra can mean son, it can mean Lord. There's a lot of translations, but if you really get down to it, that is one of the viable translations. We who struggle, stand opposed to, or resist creation, God, and sunlight. And this correlates to the black sun, I'm sorry to say. Because they're literally running sun dimming projects on us right now.
So Israel is the facilitator of sun dimming projects and mass weather manipulation?
No, that's transhumanism and the transhumanist political party. Now, if you look at the World Economic Forum, they're all about transhumanism. That's their entire agenda, and that's correlated by the U.S. Transhumanist Political Party, headed by Zoltan Isvan, who ran for U.S. president in 2015 and 2019. Okay, this is easy to look up, and why people don't know this guy exists, I don't know, because he's been on the presidential ballot at least twice now. He ran as the U.S. transhumanist president in 2015 and deferred to Trump, saying Trump will be good for science. And then in 2019, he gave a very impassioned speech at the Iowa caucus where it was stolen from Sanders for Biden by the Shadow app, which was developed by Pete Buttigieg, who, by the way, is a World Economic Forum young global leader, just like Ivanka Trump is, just like Dan Crenshaw is. That's another
like Tulsi
rabbit hole
was.
you can fall into. Just like Tulsi was, exactly. And when you find out about these people and their cults and their occult beliefs, it all correlates. So while your idea of, growing our own gardens and gathering our own water, that's a beautiful idea. However, how do you do that safely when there's nanotech in the air, when there's the sun being dimmed on our taxpayer dime, when our weather is being modified, when we're being biomodified along with our food? It's kind of a trap. You know what I mean?
I don't know, my
so while
garden's
the
looking pretty
idea is
good.
great, it doesn't affably work with the current infrastructure.
I don't know. Speak for yourself. We're getting food pretty consistently.
Dude,
No, we're
you
not,
have to look at
actually.
all
People-
these. Yeah.
Since 2020, we have all had a recognized vitamin D deficiency that's scientifically acknowledged. When you have vitamin D deficiencies, you die of immunocompromised state. That's how HIV and AIDS kill. You don't die from the actual disease. You die from the immunocompromised state when you get something like a cold that develops into bronchial pneumonia. That's how this works. Now, our government under Trump started sanctioning sun dimming systems on the public dime through Harvard in 2016, and we've proven that on the show time and time again. Now, if you want to confirm this for yourself, you can look on like the Colbert Report from 2017, where David Keith of Federal HARP is bragging that they're already killing 1 million people globally per year with intentions to ramp up by 10% annually. In 2019, they ramped up by 75 to 350% annually, and this is also from David Keith's own words and symposiums on these projects. Now, I'm not saying just believe me. I'm saying go look. I would love this nightmare to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about all of this. Unfortunately, the more you talk to people about it, the more you realize it's still going on. They banned supposedly geoengineering and sun dimming this year, but if you go outside and look up, just look up. It's still happening every single day, whether it's on the NOAA website or not.
Hold on, Dave from Melbourne. Where have they banned that? Because in Texas, nothing's being banned at all.
They banned it in some
the
states.
State of Kentucky banned it. The state of Louisiana banned it over their skies. But how do you ban an expansion SRM system, solar radiation modification? The report for it, the congressionally mandated report that's come out annually since 2021, when the Biden administration was continuing to run it after a temporary hiatus, they just moved it over to NOAA. So you can find the SRM program on their site. Now, this year, there's been a bunch of talk about how Lee Zeldin disclosed that we've been geoengineering and they stopped it. But all you got to do is go outside and look up to see they're still doing it every single day.
What do you think NASA's role? Wait. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just asking a genuine question. What do you think NASA's role in all of this is?
Well, I contracted for NASA for 4 years, from 96 to 2000, and I personally oversaw $11 million in weather modification and mind control systems. So those were all dual U.S.-Israeli grants. And that was back when, if you question the implementation of Oracle, because it was a really, really horrible product for doing data entry and data tracking that constantly caused errors and necessary rewrites and stuff, they looked at you
it's
like
still a
you
piece of
were
shit,
on the
record.
wrong side of a crusade. Like, they were seriously culty about it. And I encountered this personally.
Okay. So could you, because you're in the chat, right? Could you link any of these documents to show that this is all exclusively U.S. and Israeli, or just link documents showing this stuff? Because I do believe that like mind control and weather modification are a thing, regardless of who's behind it. There's a global agenda to implement this stuff, no matter what the country of origin that's architecting it is. And do you think that ever? Wait. Sorry. The last one, and then the follow-up question is: do you think that ever since we faked the moon landing in 1969, this has kind of helped swell NASA's budget so that they could better easily implement these things?
Yeah, your second point, I would say, is an easy yes. You know, in my experience at NASA headquarters, I encountered Ghislaine Maxwell as a assistant program advisor for Space Camp. That was back when she was giving tours of GSSC for potential space camp kids and high school kids and stuff. So that's a simple, short answer.
as for the other details, the Harvard Global Sun Dimming Project, NOAA, SRM, solar radiation modification, it's still on their homepage. And it's not just U.S. and Israel, okay? It starts at the World Economic Forum, where transhumanism is God. That's people like Klaus Schwab and Yuval Noah Harari, which have reinforced the ethos of people like Albert Pike, Aldous Huxley, even Anton LaVey. And the deeper we get into this stuff, the more we find out that not only are these people, sick techno-fascists, but they also have a penchant for, young flesh. Because the earlier you get them, the easier they are to groom. That's how I fell into Project Gateway myself, because, they were just going from school to school to school looking for people like me.
Yeah, well, and they also kidnap kids, torture them, and then extract blood from them and drink adrenochrome while they're in this terrified state to kind of give them advanced powers to kind of see into the future, so to speak, or dictate these horrific policies, because they're talking to demonic entities that are helping them do this, right?
Why don't we get Dave's opinion right now? And
no, David, was that
for a second about
okay.
adrenochrome. So let's get his opinion. Take me down for 1 second, Josh. I'll be right back.
Okay, so adrenochrome is actually kind of old hat at this point. They got to the point where they had to start synthesizing it.
Yeah, you there?
So they got to the point where they had to start synthesizing it. What we saw was the rise in blood drinking clinics, like Young Bloods up in Upper New York. And the concept of blood drinking clinics might be a misnomer because they were doing direct transfusions. But what you were describing actually goes back to a book written by King James called Demonology and I, which is his account of how the Crusades brought him healers and shamans and witches and warlocks and necromancers, and he would drink their blood to commune with angels and demons. That also correlates to him having the Masonic Council of Nicaea, which dated back to 1st century AD, craft the original King James Bible for him, which, by the way, he didn't teach his people to read the Word of God back then. And it was the Word of God according to him. But yeah, I mean, we've gone through a bunch of evolutions of said religion and Bible up to Scofield, who was a Christian Zionist and considered a blasphemer on the grand scale.
Hey, so just as an aside, I'm assuming you've read like the Torah and stuff, right? Or you've read parts of it at least. I believe
I've only seen excerpts. Yeah.
All right. God, I think in Leviticus, I could be wrong, but I think it's Leviticus where God literally, when he's speaking with Moses, he's commanding the Jews that you're not allowed to drink blood or do any of that stuff. Like that is a literal direct commandment from God to the Jewish people that type of stuff is not allowed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a violation of the covenant. It's also why the half-truth of Moloch worship, why they were banished from the said covenant, because they were worshiping Moloch, which entails putting people inside of an effigy of a golden bull, specifically women, children, and or pregnant women, burning them alive, drinking the blood, and eating of the flesh. The violation of the covenant is actually medically recognized as Kuru or Creutzfeldt, which helps grow prions.
Yeah,
prions are immortal creatures that never go away, and in every single generation cause massive genetic defects, also known as necrotizing fasciitis and cannibalistic rage.
Okay, I want to hear a little bit more about prions, and if you could explain it like I wear a mask alone to drive my car, I would appreciate that.
And this will be the last part of thing he will talk about, because we are coming to the top of the hour. And Dave, my friend Brad from ProPilled, can I give him your number because he wants to have him on your show, if possible?
Absolutely.
It's called ProPilled.
Yeah.
Can I give him your number?
ProPilled.
Sorry. Thank you for
yes, you may,
fitting
Pasta.
out.
Thanks for asking, and I appreciate you constantly giving me a voice where no one else has. So Joe Rogan, call him what you want. He covered chronic wasting disease, which is the version of prion development that has affected the Midwest and caused devastation amongst deer, elk, bison, moose, big creatures. And I got to see this devastation live. Now, prions are not only immortal, but when creatures that are suffering the zombie necrosis that it causes, like the zombie deer disease, they scratch themselves on trees and stuff, and the prions get into the vegetation and the trees. In order to avoid this in Norway, they literally napalmed like 11,000 acres or 11,000 herds of reindeer just to try to prevent the spread. But it grows in everything. It's one of the most infectious things we've ever seen. And right now, if you look it up, prions are actually spreading like an STD across America like wildfire. So they cause genetic malfunctions in every generation. They're the result of genetic disorders such as recognized porphyria, human bloodthirst, cannibalistic rage, Kuru, also known as Creutzfeldt syndrome, Kroisveldt. So these are all things you can look up that are ongoing as problems and becoming this quiet societal problem. That's why blood drinking is banned as a religious covenant, because it causes recognized medical madness, also known as cannibalistic rage. So if you look at the effects of chronic wasting disease and how it's caused massive devastation across the Midwest, that now comes to humans in a more normal level, hiding in plain sight. So when you see our leaders, suffering from slow necrosis, not to mention any names, these creeping rashes and diseases, that's what it is. Also, they use prions as a delivery system in some of the COVID shots. So that's a major red flag right there, because that's another immortal delivery system that never goes away.
Okay. Listen, I know that you have a lot of questions, Alex. Do you want to kind of get into this?
Dave, you're blowing my mind a little bit. Next time if you ever come to Texas, we need to get drunk together, okay?
I don't drink anymore, but I'll smoke a doobie with you and blow your mind.
I'll smoke a doobie with you too as well.
Let's
we can go eat some good barbecue.
Well, blow my mind. I'm excited.
But the thing is what I'd like to know, Alex. Maybe next show we can do this next Monday. We can talk about this too as well, because even somebody put in the chat like, is Alex Jewish? And I'm like, yeah, he is and stuff like that. But I want to understand why you feel so like, I don't want to say committed, because you're not like over the top. Like I never hear you talk like a Smotrich or a Ben Gvir and stuff like that. But why you think you're so protective of Zionism, right? And you kind of defend it at times. Hold on. Hold on. You got to hear the whole question.
Sure.
Why you and this goes from one of my closest friends, who hasn't been a friend of mine since I had Norm Finkelstein on Jimmy Dore's show when I had it, right? It's like, I don't understand how a lot of people can recognize, Jewish people in particular, how they can recognize the American empire for what it's doing and its globalist transhumanist agenda, but they can't recognize that Israel is a part of that same mechanism. And they feel because there's some type of kind of connection because they are Jewish, that they can ignore everything that happens around them and kind of protect it. Hold on a second. That's going to be the discussion next Monday.
Yeah,
we
sure.
are at the top of the hour.
Well, I'd like to respond a little bit.
You can't, because we're at the top of the hour.
Well, we
got to give the last
one second. Well, it's not fair to say all this stuff and not give me a chance to
all
say
right, I'll give it to you in 1 second. Let's give these last 30 seconds to Dave, and then Alex will say his last 30 seconds, and then I'll do the closing monologue, and we'll move on. Dave, Maestro, as always, dropping knowledge. I think Alex appreciates your calls. And when
it's the highlight of my day. It's actually like I work late on Sundays and I don't really sleep very much because of all that. Yeah. And hearing you talk, it literally wakes me up. Like just a continuum of knowledge, Dave. So just keep it going. It's fun and exciting.
Dave is on. Yeah, I love Dave and Snorky, the two callers today, because. Once again, I started a show for two reasons. A morning show so I can wear my sunglasses on camera. And two, I wanted to be able to talk to as many normies as possible to plug them into what's actually going on. And I found a way to take everything that Dave is saying, Snorky's saying, try to compartmentalize these very intellectual thoughts and kind of feed it to the masses out there. Dave, I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds, and I'm going to let Alex take 30 seconds, and then we're getting on out of here. Go on, Dave. Take the last 30 seconds, and thank you, as always.
Thank you, Pasta. So let me just address the solution that I see we can do. Like you posted for me, our world is rich in ancient archaeology, which is also known as ancient technology. Now, if it was good enough for the Nazis and they want it, then we need it for ourselves. It's not the technologies itself, it's how they're being used to destabilize our environment. If we have cognitive dissonance, we can have cognitive resonance through harmonic technologies. These technologies already exist. They've already been developed. And all we need to do is have the right fingers on the right buttons. But if these technologies are used to berserk the world, then we will stay berserked. We will stay confused. We will stay under a dim sun, under the Fourth Reich until the day we die, likely of vitamin D deficiencies. So the solution is simple. We take all the ancient treasures stolen in the Crusades, sitting in museums, and we give them back to the countries that they are sacred in, like the Saudi Arabian treasures hiding in Ghislaine Maxwell's drawing room for no good reason. We do this in good faith. We create a global archaeological initiative to truly understand the history of the world, and we set the religion aside. We actually look for the truth, and we apply ethics, because you can have ethics without religion, but if you have religion without ethics, all you have is insanity. And that's why we live in an insane world, as people are now using biblical passages to justify genocide in the name of a God that said, "Thou shalt not kill." I don't think so. Look into the Kabbalah systems, look into the Ponzi systems that we're trapped in. I see the rebranding of pedophiles everywhere, from Hunter Biden to Allison Mack, and the concealment of the Epstein files.
Andrew
Right
Tate
now,
too.
Donald Trump
Andrew
is.
Tate.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is currently protecting Democrats with the concealment of the Epstein files. They're the only ones who haven't come up, and we know they ran Ukrainian transhumanist biolabs. So we need to bring all this out into the light. So support the people that are pushing for the truth about transhumanism and the WEF control over Israel and America. Because like I like to say, Nazi cult pedophiles don't self-correct. It's up to us. And if we don't act, then it's on us. Ultimately, the responsibility lies with us who see. You can't teach the blind to see. But if they're inspired, maybe they'll open their eyes. So thanks, Pasta.
Revelation of the
Alex.
method, my friend.
Revelation of the method.
Love you, Dave.
Thanks, Pasta.
We'll hear from you tomorrow, if not on the phone, definitely in the chats. Alex, respond. Go ahead.
Okay.
Take the last 30 seconds.
Step. Okay. Religion without ethics is a humongous problem. Dave is 1,000% correct, but just as bad as ethics without religion and a belief in God is also the same side of the coin. When it comes to the Zionism stuff, I don't even talk about Israel. The only time I ever bring up Israel is when it's brought up to me first. The only thing I want to talk about is what's going on in America. As far as I'm concerned, and we're going to talk about this on next Monday, as far as I'm concerned, your views on Israel or the caller's views on Israel doesn't matter to me, because the only thing I want to focus on is eating real food, using sound money, and not having these cameras everywhere I go, and preserve what it still means to live in the United States. Like, that's the only thing that matters. And a lot of these like hardcore pro-Israel influencers, they're going on and talking about how we need to take out Iran and calling people like terrorists and Hamas sympathizers because they disagree with them on a topic. Like, I've never done any of that stuff. I've never called it. I never called you a name. Yeah, I've never called. I never called you. Yeah, so like,
that's why you're here, Alex.
I know. But what I'm saying though is that, like, it's not that big of a focal point to me to talk about Israel. It's actually the last thing I want to talk about when doing this show. I want to just talk about what's happening here in America and how people can kind of get involved locally, so that this new world order thing that's happening, it doesn't affect them. Just doesn't affect them. And the more you can communicate that with people, the better we are as a country and as a state and as a society. That's it.
And I will thank you for never kind of using those tactics to shut me up. We have a video of me and you sitting on one of the pedicabs having a great conversation in Austin about that. We disagree like we disagree now, and that is why you're on the show. And I can understand what people were saying. Okay, they're very upset that doesn't matter to you, and we can have those discussions.
But why?
And you can
Why
continue
should
to
you be
come
upset
over.
about that? Would you want me to be like? Would you want me to be like?
We're wrapping up the
picture of
show.
Ben
We can't.
Shapiro? Like, I mean, it's good that it doesn't matter, because it means we can talk objectively.
Yeah. Okay. I get it, Bubba. And I'm just trying to close us on out here, because we are at the top of the hour and there's other shows going on. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I want to stay consistent to my times over here, because I told people I would do that. And I think it's only fair, because I think within this community over here, not that left, when I talk about community, not left, right, just an independent, open thinking mind community, that we need to find a way to lift each other up because of the censorship. So I do want to wrap it up. And I hear you, Alex. That's why you're here. I consider you a friend. I consider your heart in the right place.
Yeah, likewise.
I do think Yeah, I do think that obviously we have our differences on those things, and I think it's great that you come to the show and talk about that, and I'm glad and I hope you continue to talk about that, and I look forward to getting with you, brother, so we can break bread together, whether it be in Texas, Florida,
It's fun,
or anywhere
dude.
around
When
the
I
world.
get back, to do my pedicab show, we're actually in motion now, so we get to drive around the city. So it'll be good.
There you go, brother.
Let's go. All right.
We love you. I'll see you next Monday.
Love you, buddy. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, buddy. You have a great day.
You too. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye, Alex. Thank you again, buddy.
Yes, sir. Go Knicks.
Yeah, hell yeah, we got that in common.
All right, end on a good note.
Dude, I've been wearing a lot of Knick gear here. I've been walking around with my Mitchell Robinson when he's slamming over Joel Embiid shirt, my orange Knick shirt. I leave tomorrow, but today there's a family member that has a birthday party, and it's a 70 themed birthday party.
Get a De'Aaron Fox jersey, but a Knicks jersey, because that's the best troll costume.
Love you, brother.
I love you. Later.
All right, let's get this music going here, Sleepy. Let me know.
All right, that was fun.
It's going.
All right. How does it sound?
It sounds good.
All right, so as we wrap up today's show, let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of diversity of thought and the peace we can cultivate with our neighbors. In a world that often feels divided, it's our differences that can actually bring us together. Every unique perspective, every story shared enriches our collective experience and fosters understanding. Remember, it's okay to disagree. It's how we handle those disagreements that truly matters. Let's embrace dialogue over debate, compassion over conflict. When we listen to one another, we open the door to meaningful relationships. By engaging with our diverse communities, we can find common ground and build bridges that promote peace. So I encourage you to reach out to someone with a different viewpoint. Share a meal, have a conversation, or simply listen. Let's create a ripple effect of kindness and understanding in our neighborhoods and beyond. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Remember, together we can celebrate our diversity and pave the way for a more brighter, more peaceful future. So until next time, keep the dialogue flowing and the peace growing. I want to thank Sleepy J. Sleepy, I'm sorry for snapping in the show and yelling at you to stop today.
I didn't hear you. It was fair. I didn't hear you. It was fair.
Don't you dare snap at fucking Sleepy. I'm like, you're absolutely right.
I didn't hear
apologize.
You. So
I know you don't care.
My hearing sucks, dude.
You know, no, I love you. You know that. I want to have this. You know what we're trying to build here. We've been having these conversations. It's been awesome to be able to do that. I want to thank the producers in the chat, especially Gabrielle Freedom, Fred Edward. I love you guys. Everybody else who called in today, Dave, Snorky. I want to thank Alex Strenger for showing on up, and I want to thank all of you for supporting us. There'll be no show tomorrow, but we'll be back on Wednesday with Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski. This is Drive Time. I love you all. We'll see you soon, and peace.